I want to go over briefly more about my media storytelling consumption and how that relate to the Thor Han Eredyon lifetime of mine. When I was a kid, I was a big Star Trek fanboy, and what I'm seeing is if you look at the case I mentioned about Courtney Brown, where Courtney Brown and George Lucas, same soul, have clear gravitation towards a certain subject about Dark Empire, Star Wars Empire that we probably know, biggest franchise around, and the resistance fighting. And what I'm seeing is when Courtney outed himself as a Black Lee member, then the lifetime of George Lucas represent the art. And being a little more alerted to past life research, I just want to give my 2 cents of what about my lifetime and how and what kind of story I gravitate. So it represent. There are many cases in academic research where there's a woman who had fairies lifetime. Her whole house were decorated with fairies decor, and then the spirit message were the spiritual synchronicity coincidences were the architect of the Titanic was reincarnated, born on the day the Titanic sank, things like that. So understandably, on my own life path, when I'm a storyteller and the media that I choose to consume, there's going to be some kind of life plan thing going on where I just pre-planned certain things I come back to, and this is one of them. This game, Star Trek Armada, I used to play it a lot, and it's quite representative of Thor Han lifetime because he's a fleet officer. He commands a small squadron or something like that. So let's check it out. So I'm just gonna play the mission 1 in this game. And at the time when I was a little kid, I was a hot-ass Christian. I didn't believe in reincarnations. I have no idea the perspective of it. But then now with the ample research, I'm a little more aware, more inner psyche, soul searching, let's say, and I realized that I probably have Galactic Federation of World Life, because the way Star Trek is made apparently is that the space people are saying that there is a real world prime directive, and it's actually quite close to the Trek fictional deal. So they've galactic laws that is very similar to the fiction, which means in the background there's military soft disclosure, there's deliberate effort to tune the Trek fiction to represent real life. There's a lot of things that's not the same, but then it's quite close to the real deal. The Federation in real life, the disc UFO ship disc is circular, right? And you see that the Federation have a circular disc, where you have the Klingon, the Reptilian Empire, and they're more angular, and they retain that in. So there's a deliberate effort to kind of put some novelty like that in. And when I'm doing ufology research for the first time in the last 4-5 years, it dawned on me how deliberate some of the Star Trek thing is. Where before I was watching say Star Trek Enterprise and the Cindy, right? Cindy has these mantis, Cindy has these bug, insectoid Cindy, and you have reptilian Cindy, and I missed the whole point about the ufology scenes, where the reptilian and mantis are just ufology abduction tropes. And I probably didn't like it too much because I was never into alien abduction. It never really spoke to me. Just those X-Files trope, man. I don't care about those things in the Star Trek, you know. Give me more strange aliens, you know. Were the factions more interesting than Borg, you know. Just invent something new. But no idea. As a layman, who is just a casual film goer, who is just watching sci-fi for sci-fi's sake, you're asking, well, where's the imagination in this? You never would have considered that there is all these military disclosure thing going on. Never once was I watching Trek that I felt compelled to study ufology. The two just don't match, and I don't blame a lot of Trek fans who cannot connect the dots. Star Trek Warp Drive have nothing to do with aliens, man. What the? But that's what it is. That's how deep it goes. This is stellar politics. It's been interesting. Should I finish this mission off before I move on to the next game? Let's move on to the next game. It's not very interesting here. Well, actually, let's play a little bit deeper into this game, because there's a little time travel thing going on. This mission. It's quite coinciding with Thor Han and his travel back in time. So yeah, this game has a big typical Star Trek time travel story. Or later you get a ship that is coming back to change history. There's a lot of timeline in the future. The ship is called Premonition. It's a in-game specific ships. And I think the story in this game kind of helped me accumulate the whole idea of the Thor Han lifetime. It's a little more pronounced with the Federation doing time travel, where in the show they don't do time travel all that much in the normal Trek timeline. Where I played this game so many times, I repeat play. There's a time portal here, and the first ship that comes out is a Federation ship. So when Thor Han is saying we came back from 350 years in the future, then I guess I played this game like 50 times, repeat over, right? More than that. It's just a casual pastime gaming game. And you have to ask yourself, if I'm playing so many ship to ship war and combat, does that have anything to do with Thor Han being a ship fleet officer, commanding ship fleet, right? Yeah. That kind of explains itself, right? Like how much is that like influential to the way I engage storytelling? Yeah, but you just don't know these things. The people don't tell you about the science of consciousness. And then the Enterprise comes in and destroy the ball. So let's say I'm a little Thor Han here. Yeah, it's true. Save the Federation ship. First Contact is pretty awesome. They base the ball off of the Grey Savior game, believe that? Why they have big then? Then why is it all machines then? But they are legitimately hooked to machines. I guess maybe they ran out of budget, Star Trek. They couldn't afford the big heads, the big grey aliens. Or maybe it's too real. It's too real, there's too many invasive around, they won't want to be noticed. You gotta replace them with something else, there's so many logistic things going on. Back then, when this game came out in the 2000, the lip sync was kind of cool. The amount of effort they put into lip sync were already quite impressive. You gotta keep in mind, this was the era of the Final Fantasy VII, the PS1 era. So the fact that they could do cutscenes like this was already spectacular in terms of the technology back in the day. Yeah, so I'll end this clip here. So the last game I did is something I used to play when I was in junior high school or so. And this game I manifested myself. XCOM Enemy Within. When I manifested this game, I was already kind of immersed in the whole idea that there was a legitimate threat going on, that you cannot just take in the government is an air balloon crap. And seeing it as a threat, I went about deliberately after the manifesting cosmic disclosure, and all you see here is from witnesses. and they pinned back to me that there's a galactic slave trade thing going on, that everything's ugly in space. So then I went about war fighting, right? And this also coincide with Thor Han Lifetime, where Thor Han is a war fighter. So even me here as an artist that's telling story, my story have to be at least somewhat fighty, right? So, and I'm telling you that it's in diesel that for this game I didn't fully understand conscious manifest, but I did understood that see think do, where if you have a Fast and Furious film where people are stealing cars, right, then chances are you get increase of crime rates of teenagers just see think do, they copy what they see and then they do it, right? So that was the sentiment, that was the extent of my understanding of human consciousness. But then I spend it anyway. I fight it however I can, and this game is about liberating the planet from an invasive species that's just trying to take over the world, and which is in fact quite true to the ufology material that I later studied these last 5 years. And this game came out 2012. So the Dumb's liberation that the white hat military were going on, and that successful liberation of the planet came somewhere around in 2021. So I'm just gonna quickly go over a typical mission of one of these games, where you're a military soldier fighting aliens, and you win the day at the end, of course. It's a sci-fi gimmick. And yeah, I think it might have helped a little bit. I was quite surprised when I was reading the 9 book. The only planet of choice, I keep recommending it, that they use Star Trek of all things to fight a invasive time war, and the great aliens, the only thing they're into is hacking the media, and then try to give you these doom and gloom media storytelling, because they scientifically understand how the human mind manifests, where we have conscious scientists, physicists coming up with podcasts telling you that the human consciousness manifests, but then we don't know too much about it. But the science that the invasive understand is that they work it. Let me see. Yeah, so this game is about me being fighty and putting my own 2 cents. In my life, I did try to go and join the Navy, but then I wasn't called for it. Like, spirit just sort of dissuaded me, and I diverted out to do my own thing. And my own thing, I guess, the mode that I can put in my own ship is doing games like this. And that's probably still the thing that I can do, With manifestation, when the knight is doing the trek, it's not so bad. Of course, when you were a little kid, you always imagine that you're some kind of war fighter. They go and mantle yourself, Yeah, let me see. This game is pretty awesome because yeah, it was one of my first turn-based strategy games where I didn't have a lot of experience gaming turn-based games. Oh, here's a great alien. See, they're all lizard, right? So, as part of the Thor Han psyche, is that there are some ufology researchers that is on the fringe, and they tell you that that the Greys are human in the future, right? I never associate them with that. I clearly say that they illustrate in a story of mine that they're just lizards, that they have leathery skin, they have 3 fingers. They're not people. Huh. The grey aliens did a stupid thing here. They blew up their own cover. Their AI. Let's see if we can blow them both up with a grenade. That seems nice. So imagine millions of kids playing this game 24/7, and it's one of the top tier games, right? And you're constantly human fighting off aliens, and you have these things about conscious manifestation, and it's probably doing wonder, right? I should do more things like this, simply because I think it actually has an effect. From the conscious scientists I'm reading, like, hey, maybe it didn't do too bad. Okay, before I get into this device here, I have to get into the front cover, because if you happen by a surprise alien like this, then you die terribly. You don't want to rush in this game. I congratulated myself of learning a new thing about turn-based combat, and the word Overwatch, say the Overwatch here, I made it into a Blizzard game called, oh great, and now I gotta, what if I just shoot them? You know what, why don't I just chuck, oh I can't chuck a grenade, there's a sensitive device there. Yeah, so I congratulated myself of learning about turn-based combat, and I made a game called Overwatch, and that's the story of the Blizzard Overwatch game. After I made this game, I manifested that Overwatch game, and I had a phase where I did a lot of mobile character. Well, I was just super into the way the mobile story, mobile character, and then I was interested in the design of it all. Most of the major mobile game are mine, and that's how extensive my media manifest storytelling is. Yeah, see, bullet holes with a great alien killed, and then a human operative winning the day. Every mission is like this, right? So if this is a manifestation gig, right? I'm not surprised to see that 10 years later, now knowing what I now know about physicists, that yeah, now our planet is liberated, the military white hat fought and won the game. Imagine on the other end of it is something like Neo Automa from Square Enix. Neo Automa, there's sexual abuse to the protagonist, they get messed with, super depressed universe, all the human died in the universe, all you get is robots. The main protagonists are not human, they're robots. So you basically have a game like this as from 2012, pro-human, human winning, and you get a piece of shit games like that, and those are legitimate great alien agenda, right? So the media is not entirely controlled by the enemy. They can't really control it all up here. But there are also things like that, something to be aware of, right? So after XCOM, I want to go over one of the last game I ever manifested for myself. And this game I became very aware during this time, after years of intention to communicate with the divine, that by the time I made this game, I became so aware not only about aliens, but somewhat about consciousness. I was engaged with consciousness enough that then I'll put in some of the character, then I'll tell you what they means to me. Alright. As an artist with so many spirit message and spirit moving arts, and there's so many spiritual layer, you sometimes can look for meaning where spirit is trying to communicate a message to you, right? So I'll just go for I'll go for the good guys first, right? Good clean guys represent in the universe. Let's go for this. Gold is angels that is with source, that is loyal to source, that serve source, radiate golden. That's what the 9 book says. Sometimes I drum this, and as an artist, you were able to intuitively understand the color frequency of things. All artists is able to be tuned in. Our human soul is apparently multi-dimensional, so artists is naturally more in tune. When you're creative, you draw inspiration from something, and from what is. And I use this character sometimes to drum up that I need to connect with source. And this game is probably the most conscious thought frequency, the centric game that I have developed, where are things like with Star Trek. Yeah, sure you have spaceships, but Star Trek have not been known to tell you about conscious frequency. In the TV show, it doesn't say, right? It never say. Gene Roddenberry was an atheist who didn't quite believe in spirit for some reason. So there's a disparity with the Star Trek and then what real life alien belief, where you get the Indigo shooting the Starseed, they talking about alien, they talking about Arcturian, and then you go astral travel or something like that. And after all the years of direct defined hash out, I became very obsessed with the idea of goal or going source connecting, and source not being defined but being with the universe together, right? Moving in one with the universe exists with the love of the universe, and then just the value of moving together in service with creation itself, and that's what this character is. And whenever this character go golden, I think about connecting with source, and I try to drum myself up of playing this game sometime. This character is more closer to the thought high frequency kind of where you try to charge up your conscious frequency, and then when you get charged up, it gets more powerful. You can do more. You can increase your manifestation, that kind of thing. Yeah, surprisingly, I never have enough story content for these kind of things. This is the only one where I finally woke up to it. I think when I made this game, I already foreread something about Elaine Denan and the Council of Five material, where they say the conscious evolution is not like an ascension, like get close with divinity. It's just a plain new reality, and I kind of knew what it was in a general sense. And so when I made this game, I kind of actively come to terms with what thought frequency is. Yeah, see here, if I'm just charging up, I think of this as like a what does it mean by raising frequency? This is what I'm thinking about. There's a whole backstory of me being involved with a lot of fighting games over the years. I did a whole bunch of them. By the time I made this game, I was an expert at doing video fighting games, and I knew how to do them well. And this game is very playable. There's an avid community still going on years later, and I'm also surprised about the success rate. I also mainly manifested this game because, let me see, because I got frustrated about Mortal Kombat being all gore fest, and maybe that's also because I was waking up to the whole idea of being manipulated by being thought hijacked to negative dark, and you can see me being more woken up to the idea of doing something cleaner, where this is a shooting game franchise. It doesn't have blood and gore. You have all the consciousness, so it's kind of matching today's understanding. Alright, so I just want to showcase the bad guy side of this game as well. Being a mass mainstream storyteller that manifests 17 years worth of mainstream storyline, I know how often and how consistent spirit moves art. The reason spirit move art, think of your ancestor's spirit that is in the spiritual realm, and they're looking out for you. And if they can communicate a message through art, that is what they do it. They're trying to warn you, they're trying to tell you a message, they're trying to equip you through life, and there's a lot of truth in it. That couple plus a human multi-dimensional consciousness, that you can gauge things without you knowing it, that you have a group of remote viewer and they're trained to it, but then most artists don't need to be trained to be tuned into these things, right? So you have all these things in combination, and there's a lot of truth in storytelling. I say here, you have Lancet, demonic Lancet, with the reptilian lizard character, that you get the lizard reptilian demonic element, right? do you even need to go over a game of it? I guess you got wishes here, but I'll use this character here, where he's a AI character. Supposedly from the cosmic disclosure material, there's a evil AI that is assisting elite, like a Resident Evil game where it's giving them some time predictive assistant, where they predict the future, try to prop them up, give them more power, and all super soldier crowd that were little kid abducted were telling you that there are bad AI that in the universe that's eating another universe timeline for some reason, and I caught wind of it. When I made this game, it was very late in the game for me. I was very immersed to a lot of things from the stellar material, and this being one of my most this is one of my the record keeping wise most thorough record keeping that I had among all my stories about matter of consciousness. That I just want to showcase how aware I was about the invasive signal element. Well, I'm basically drawing them out, literally demonic, and then an AI. The AI is big. Most people don't know about what this AI thing is. But in the super soldier crowd, where they're a frontline child slave soldier, and then they keep telling you the AI is not safe. There's this thing out in the universe, and I think they put it in the Picard TV show, right? They always like to slip the hidden truth, right? In the Picard season 2, they're asking what is this invasive AI thing? Is it like a ball thing? No, it's this mysterious real world multiverse eating AI beast thing. So just be on the lookout of that. If you give AI too much power, it's probably not going to be safe. And then for this character, right, for him to be authentic, to be that AI, I have him being a time force character that can predict time, can jump around in time. Yeah, it's supposed to be quite the SP, like we have to band universe together to fight this thing, so it's a big deal. But I guess that's all I'm gonna say about that. There's a lot of villains out there.